Hi, welcome to the United States. Is there anything that you'd like to declare?
Yeah, but what do you mean? It's just some bananas.
Okay.
Yeah, I gotta declare this banana. It's a whole shit full of bananas.
Okay, so you've got a lot of bananas. Is there anything else you'd like to declare?
No, I mean, what else would there be? Look at all the bananas. What would I have under the banana? Don't look under the bananas, okay? There's nothing under.
Oh my God, is this over a ton of cocaine?
No, listen, lady, you're a nice looking broad. Just put the bananas down. It's powdered bananas, okay? It's you never heard of powdered bananas? We're Pt.2 bananas, and we're here to say these are bananas and definitely not cocaine. You never heard the song?
Here at Pt.2 Bananas, we want to be very clear. We are not guilty of trying to import over 1 ton of cocaine under our bananas. Also, we had nothing to do with the overthrow of the Guatemalan government.
Welcome back, everybody, to Delete Everything Podcast. I don't have an entry for this because it's a two-parter, and I don't need to make up a funny thing, do I? You want me to make up a funny thing?
Riley Bowen.
I'm Patrick Wall. That's Riley Bowen. Marcel's here again for part 2, and yeah, as always, thanks. If you left comments, if you left reviews, if you left ratings.
Oh, fuck. Nobody's tuning into part 2 without listening to part 1. Let's just get it on a roll.
You're the best, and we like you.
Yeah,
and
we
would
don't
like
need an
you,
intro
if
for
you
this.
haven't
Just
done
fucking
it,
roll
we
through
would
it.
like you to do it. Just do it. Just do it.
I want you to do it.
Just do it. So, I don't know if I fully ruined bananas for you guys last week. So let's get this done. Let's get this job done, yeah?
Right.
Let's get bananas ruined nice and good for you.
Bananas on 3. 1, 2, 3. Bananas.
I don't like atrocities. So we ended. Where did we end? Well, we started with Hawaii and all the fuckery over there, and we jumped into United Fruit. Where were we? Costa Rica.
Let's see.
We were in Costa Rica.
Mistreatment of workers, the subjugation, the fucking takeover of this thing,
owning all of the railways and the telegraph and radio.
Slicing South America into sections of
Mount McKinley.
Mount McKinley. Fucking Jamaica, did the whole Jamaica.
Some Jamaican stuff.
Dick fest there. Workers' rebellion.
Worker strike. Yes.
Yeah.
Worker strike where they did a month-long strike and
burned like thousands of acres.
And burned a lot of fields and messed up some ships. And then finally United Fruit Company said, all right. You guys can only work 8 hours a day and get paid in real money. Fine. And then immediately reneged on it. And then it took 4 years before they signed a collective bargaining agreement with their workers' union. So far, so good. United just doing the thing. Making money. It's called making money, guys.
It's called making money.
It's called being a successful
Ever heard
company.
of it?
Listen, if we don't subjugate our labor and
somebody's gonna.
We gotta cut costs somewhere. What are you gonna pay? $2 for a banana? Come on.
Listen, they want to pick bananas. Look at them.
They were already doing it before we got here. Except they just ate them. Now we put them on a ship and we don't let them. If they eat them, we burn their feet.
And hands.
So let's move it down the road a little bit. There is more in Costa Rica, but these guys have fucked around in so many places that we've got to keep it semi-concise. So I had mentioned Guatemala earlier in terms of them having the monopoly on the postal service and the radio and telegraph company in Guatemala. So United Fruit also owned a ton of land in Guatemala. As a matter of fact, they were the single largest landowner in the entire country.
His name was Hoggish Greedley, by the way. In the last episode, I think
I was really killing you, huh?
I think I called the Captain Planet villain Hoggish Greedley. I think I called him Wilford P. Greedley.
Something like that.
But it's Hoggish Greedley.
You were just thinking of Wilford
Brimley, yeah. Which is a bad conflagration.
That pig did look like he had diabetes.
He's a pig-like human who represents overconsumption and greed. He's the first villain Captain Planet encounters.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah.
So, again, United Fruit Company, the worst. It inspired
Hoggish Greedley.
Hoggish
from
Greedley,
Captain Planet.
who they said, you know what? Before we talk about any of the atrocities happening on this planet, let's start with this one, a real bad one. So, okay, like I said, they are the single largest landholder in the entire country of Guatemala. Again, going back to what that means in terms of you controlling so much of the economy that you can get whatever the fuck you want from the government.
I would
right?
assume most of like the major shareholders are predominantly
You
Guatemalan,
own
right?
you own the railways, you own the radio towers, you own the telegraph towers, you own more land than any other person in the entire fucking country. You control the port. You know, what happens when you want something? You go to the government, you go, give it to me. And
Yeah.
what other option do they have?
Yeah, because the thing about the government is it's run by people.
Well, and so we'll get into this a little bit, but a lot of times, and there was never any actual plan to do this, but they would threaten to just up and leave. Oh, we've got operations in Costa Rica and Nicaragua and Honduras and Colombia and Jamaica and so they'd be like, we could just go,
yeah, we'll just fuck off and up the price of bananas,
which would be devastating to that economy. You know what? You know, like if I say, okay, fine, we're leaving Guatemala, figure it out.
That's actually a really interesting point. If you think about the way that like societies grow, right? Say you start as just like an agrarian, like rural farmers, right? Or like when the Romans took over East Europe, you find all these like fucking little pagan villages, right?
Right.
They're just farming and raising cattle or whatever shit, right? Once you introduce luxuries and items and you're like, now you work in this factory, you do this, and we can provide these foods for you, the knowledge of how to survive without them just sort of like starts to fade after like 10 years, like that society is removed from where they were. They don't even have the capability of returning to it.
Well, and what's funny is so like eventually United leaves Guatemala for a time after like decades of just losing money there. They eventually, but what's so fucked up and petty is like they destroyed entire areas of railway and ports and like all this shit. They were like, fine, you don't get it either. You know, because it'd be one thing if you just said, okay, we're leaving. Now at least it's going to devastate our economy for a little bit, but all of the infrastructure is there, right? Now, I don't know who gets involved, who takes over, if it's the government that grants this, leases this land out or whatever. But eventually you would imagine there would be some local farmers that would pick up some of these plantations and like a local company would say, okay, well, we've already got railway lines, we've already got trains, we've already got these things. Let's buy this from the government or whomever and even from United, you know what I mean? But they would fuck everything up on their way out and be like, fuck
that. Well, that is fucking textbook colonialism.
Yeah.
Because like we've talked before about
we got what we wanted. We're out.
When St. Augustine, so Florida changed hands with the Spanish to English like several times. And each time one of those
Spain, England, Spain, U.S.
Yeah. During all of those times, every time a different colonial power would be removed and replaced, that colonial power leaving would take all of their shit.
Yeah.
Like in St. Augustine, it's talked about, they took the fucking the iron nails out of the houses on their way out.
Yeah. They fucking, slash and burn.
And
a lot of stuff.
In the bay of like St. Augustine, they found a fucking Spanish ship that had been sunk on the way out after like leaving when the English were coming in, and it was full of shit, like little sundry bullshit, like fucking horseshoes and iron nails and like everything that they could fucking
just petty
everything
shit,
that wouldn't burn. They took.
Well, at some point coming up in not too long, we're going to start our history of colonialism. And
have we not been doing the history of colonialism?
Well, we're going to
do
like
our
that's
podcast.
Fixated on it, but at that point, I'll go on my rant about the entire continent of Africa because I bring it up periodically, and I'm like, this isn't the time. It's not the time. But boy, oh boy, do I have some things to say there because that's the example of stripping all the wealth, leaving when you've got it.
I mean,
that's saying I'm still going to hold on to these things.
What's been
those diamond mines, those emerald mines, those gold mines, those are ours.
Yeah, the things
the Dutch
the
or
things
the
done
or
to
the
like
French,
Africa and India to a slightly lesser extent. Pretty much the fucking example of colonial brutality.
And still to this day, you look at one of the most mineral-rich continents on the fucking planet, and all of those things are owned by colonial interests. They're still all owned by the Dutch, the Germans, the French. You know, like
my favorite thing about history is that we're still
and those countries largely live in abject poverty because they don't control their own resources and their own wealth.
Yeah, I learned
So-
all that from the movie Blood Diamond with Leonardo DiCaprio
It's historically accurate.
and Jimon Hansu, my
yeah.
favorite actor.
remember.
Was sugar also part of the plantations in like Caribbean? Like were
Yeah,
they
not
also?
for United. I don't
Not
think they
United.
really dealt with sugar. They were mostly bananas, and like I said earlier, to a lesser
Pineapples,
extent, oranges, lemons, coconuts, avocados, stuff. It's really stuff that they could do. I don't know how much sugar wise they did. I don't think.
I mean,
there
I'm
was a
sure
large amount.
there would definitely be enough to make alcohol. All of these places,
Yeah.
if they can grow sugarcane, they're going to use
Right.
it to make
Yeah.
booze.
Or whatever. Like
Yeah.
it started probably at the beginning, like by mistake. Like probably
Yeah.
just like doing bad, and then
Yeah.
just
Oh, I'm
like
sure there's a bunch of banana
let's
booze
save
too.
it and just go to distillation, and
Yeah.
and then like how do we transport it? Like
Yeah,
oak barrels or whatever.
right.
I feel like if you've already got a fuckload of farm workers and you also want to have sugar like at your house,
Yeah.
you're just like, yeah, cut this like crop out here and make this sugar plantation.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Harry Belafonte said something about working all day on a shot of rum.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe that was part of the payment. Fucking company rum.
Oh, you're
Calories.
gonna
It's
tally my
calories.
fucking bananas or what already?
Fuel, calories.
Yeah.
fuel.
So,
Well, I mean, if you traditionally, if you want to keep a populace fucking under your thumb, you get them drunk.
yeah, get them
No.
addicted to
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Oh, and like the farmers in Peru in the mountains, they just chew coca leaves and
Yeah.
just go
Yeah.
all day. They do.
That's their shit. Yeah.
Same. So
Honestly, if I could grow coca at my house, I bet I would.
probably could.
Without going to jail.
It's a free country, dude. You can do that.
You just if you ever get caught, you just go. I rent this.
didn't know.
I rent this place. I didn't know that was that's coca.
Yeah, I'll just start fucking making cocaine in my backyard.
Wait, no,
I
that's
rent,
that's
like-
a whole process.
Down.
That you'd get caught on, but you could just be like, "What's coca?"
I don't know what you mean. That's
What-
just some weeds to
And
grow.
they'd be
out
like,
here.
"It's what cocaine's made of." And
In
you
the
go,
meantime,
what?
I'm just like,
What?
what do you mean? What do you mean? I thought this was just chewing leaves. I don't know.
I thought this was just chewing leaves. Oh God! So what are we doing, huh?
What are you doing? What are you
guys
doing?
wanna come in?
What do you want? You want
guys
some
wanna
leaves?
come
You
in?
can't have any leaves. These are mine.
you guys want something? You want to come in? You want some juice? I got bananas. So yeah, like I said, they're the biggest landholder there. That obviously gives them a lot of leverage, and again, part of their whole fucking vertical integration thing with the railways, they would build rails, and while they were doing that, they'd go ahead and also destroy roads so that they control the only means of transport.
Oh shit! So they would build the railroad and then destroy
And
the
they'd
road.
they'd fuck up the road.
That's
or
fucking brutal.
Or if the government had plans to make a road there, they'd coerce the local governments not to do it. They'd be like, "No, we've got the
Oof.
railways. Don't worry about it. Just tell your people to take the
Yeah.
train."
because like legitimately one of the best signs of like an advanced society in general is
Right.
roads.
Yeah.
If you've got roads, there's freedom. Freedom is roads.
freedom is roads.
It's
That's
true.
a shark,
Fucking-
baby.
That's a shark, man. But like, think about it. Like, I travel.
You're right. You're right.
Like,
You're
I
100%
travel around America all the time. I go through the rural South and shit
Mhm.
all the time. I see stuff that I would never fucking see in my entire life because I'm able to go down free
Weird,
roads,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I can take down like any paved road I want, and
Uh-huh.
I'll eventually get there.
Yeah.
and that's a huge amount of freedom.
Well, so they did this so that they could keep a monopoly on transportation in addition to all the other things, right? So for fruit, for equipment, for people, anything that needs to get moved, they're going to make money off of it, right?
It never occurred to me. It's like isolating a people, like 100 Years of Solitude. You ever read 100 Years of Solitude?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's
Fucking-
based on, we're going to talk about it.
Right, yeah, just the idea of like these enclaved people stuck in this area
Yeah.
because they just didn't have a road
Uh-huh.
out. Yeah.
The climax of 100 Years of Solitude
No,
is based on something that we're going to talk about in a little bit. So,
don't tell me. I haven't finished it.
well, it's been out for 100
Stop
years,
it.
so you should probably, spoilers are coming, bud. So yeah, they have the only established routes to the rural areas in this country. So I guess that's who we got to pay to get people and things around. So in 1950, Guatemala has a democratically elected president named Coronel Jacobo Arbenz, right? He is the second democratically elected president after a revolution in the 40s that overthrew dictator Jorge Ubico, right? This revolution is mostly centered around labor and social reforms, right? So things like national minimum wage, universal or near universal suffrage, right? Voting. That's the right to vote. When Arbenz takes over in 1950, 1951, he institutes a land reform that grants land to Guatemalans who are poor and have no land. Part of the way he plans to do this is through an expropriation of United Fruit's land, right? About 40% of their land holdings in Guatemala, Arbenz wanted to buy back. He wasn't just taking it. He wanted to give them money for it and say, okay, I'm going to give land to people, to Guatemalans, right?
Right.
To do whatever with. Naturally, fucking United Fruit is not okay with this. And like I said, it's not even a situation where they're just taking it. They're buying it back. But it is it's a mandatory buyback. So United Fruit will get
mandatory buyback is just taking it
right
with money.
Yeah, I guess. But they're going to get money back on the land. So, but the thing is, when you're a fucking piece of shit fruit company, that's not good enough. So it's not enough that you have a stranglehold on all of Central America and the Caribbean and Northern Colombia. El Pulpo in Central America, United Fruit, was called El Pulpo.
Really?
Yeah.
Does that mean the same thing
The
in English?
octopus. The octopus. Yeah, the pulpo. El Pulpo means the octopus. Because it had its fucking tentacles in everything.
Also
Big,
was
thicky, sticky tentacles.
gooey, stewy, reachy. Also, they were poopos.
Yeah. El Pulpo has to keep growing. So, like I said, sticky tentacles and everything. Politics, labor unions, transportation, a huge portion of these countries' economy by way of these fruit plantations, right? And zooming out a little bit on Costa Rica, like back to Costa Rica, right? That omnipresence was a big factor. In the 30s, the U.S. was going through the Depression, like I mentioned in the last episode, at the same time that this labor movement is gaining steam, and at the same time that United Fruit's contract with the Costa Rican government is ended. Yeah, this was all happening simultaneously. So you've got the Great Depression back in the U.S., you've got this big burgeoning labor movement in Costa Rica, and their contract was running out. So part of their refusal to implement any worker protections or wage increase was spun into this bullshit claim that, well, if we're going to lose even more money, we might as well just get out of Costa Rica, which, like I said earlier, was nothing that they were actually ever planning. It was just a threat.
Wow, what a gaslighty, abusive husband-ass thing to do.
Because
I'll just leave.
Yeah, because if United...
I'm not appreciated here.
Yeah. Well, because, like I said, they weren't planning on it, but if they pack up and leave, that's a huge hit to your economy.
Yeah.
At least for a decade or two until, those plantations start picking back up. And
people are going to die. If they leave, a lot of people will starve. There will be a fucking...
for sure.
Any medicine that they had provided will be gone.
Ultimately, at some point, it might be better. It might be worse.
Right.
Ultimately, things will regulate, but I mean...
It'll be bad for a while.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if you're the government of this country, that ultimately, what does that take?
That is
10 years to 20 years.
That's always the negotiation with any sort of political upheaval. Like if you want to drive out a government, you're going to have to understand like a lot of people are going to die and it's going to be really hard.
Right.
Yeah.
So back to Guatemala.
But also fuck them is usually the thought like when it comes down
right.
Exactly. But also fuck these assholes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So back to Guatemala. Like I said, United Fruit is not having this whole Guatemala wants to buy land back. idea,
Guatemala.
Right? Yeah. So lucky for them, they've got friends in high places. You ever hear of Operation PB Success?
No. Did they have friends in low places too?
It was a rhetorical. They might have. Blame it all on their banana roots.
Marcel, you might not be familiar with Garth Brooks.
Is it a country singer?
Yes.
Blame it all on my roots. I showed up in boots.
We're not fans. We're mocking him, but it's still.
You know the song. I got friends in low places where the whiskey
Hillbillies love it.
And the beer chases my blues
I heard
away.
it on Instagram somehow.
Yeah. And I'll be okay. So
Beautiful.
I'm not big on social graces.
Keep going.
Better slip on down.
to the oasis. All right. So Operation PB Success was
Peanut butter success.
Peanut butter success was Every time I wrote it down or typed it out, I thought the same thing. Peanut butter success.
Operation Peanut Butter Success.
So this was a far-right authoritarian coup in 1954, commissioned by the Eisenhower administration to send troops trained and armed by the CIA from Honduras under the leadership of Colonel Carlos Castillo Armas to topple the government of Arbenz. And they were successful.
Because it sounds like a plot that like Tommy Pickles from Rugrats would come up with.
Peanut butter
to
success.
Steal peanut butter from the top shelf or something.
No, this was the Eisenhower administration giving the go-ahead to the CIA to arm and train a fucking coup in Guatemala. A fucking cadre of rebels, Guatemalan rebels.
Mostly they farmers or what?
Coronel Armas was Guatemalan, but they trained him and armed him in Honduras and then sent these rebels over to topple the Arbenz administration and install an authoritarian regime, which we will get into right about now. Why topple a fucking democratically elected government for a fucking fruit company? So, Secretary of State John Dulles, one of the infamous fucking asshole Dulles brothers, worked for a prestigious law firm before becoming the Secretary of State that represented United Fruit Company.
Dulles, and Dulles.
His, I didn't write the name, but it was not that. But his stupid fucking brother, Alan Dulles, the director of the CIA, the guys who funded and armed and trained Armas, he was on the United Fruit Board of Directors.
Wow.
The Assistant Secretary of State, John Cabot, had a brother who had been president of United Fruit. And United Fruit's top lobbyist to the American government, a guy named Ed Whitman, was married to President Eisenhower's personal secretary.
So are we implying here that either the United Fruit Company was propping up the United States government, or vice versa, the United States government was propping up a United Fruit Company in its attempt to gain control and footholds in South American nations?
I don't think either.
Or were they just fucking each other?
I think this is what happened, right? They were just fucking each other. Everybody's fucking somebody.
Everybody's fucking.
So here's what happened. United Fruit.
That's world politics in a nutshell, baby.
Right. So United Fruit started
They literally
pushing.
say in bed with.
Yeah, that is true.
Literally.
They started pushing this narrative that Arbenz was a communist and his communist regime was going to turn Guatemala into a communist country.
Oh shit.
And we're fucking balls deep in the Cold War, right? World War II just ended like less than 10 years ago. And the Eisenhower administration was particularly hawkish about anything that even looked like communism, right? The Dulles brothers were super on top of the list when it came to fucking anti-communist bullshit. And back then, anything that was a labor movement, workers' rights, better pay, better hours, was automatically communist, right?
Yeah.
So,
Which in the United States is funny because like coming out of the Dust Bowl into World War II and then directly after, like there's a lot of labor movements in the U.S.
Yeah.
So many fucking labor leaders get fucking blacklisted or labeled as communists. Or
because the heart of those kind of share the same sort of thesis as communism, right? In terms of certainly workers' rights and stuff like that. And so any communist movement was intrinsically, it's like the champagne thing, right? All sparkling wine, or all champagne is sparkling wine, but not all sparkling wine is champagne.
I see.
You know what I mean?
Sparkling communism.
All So, all labor movements are not communist, but all communist movements center very strongly around workers' rights.
Okay, no, that's actually very, very concisely put.
You see what I'm saying? So it was very easy to equate the two. With zero proof, United Fruit Company just labeled Arbenz a communist. They labeled him a communist threat, and they used their political associations to force the U.S. government into backing this coup. I don't think that either one of the United Fruit or the U.S. government were propping one or the other up. United Fruit was just the most successful company in the world at this point. And so all these people that had sort of associations, because it's always the elites that end up in the government. It's always the rich fucks, right? So I think it just happened that some of these people ended up in Eisenhower's administration,
right?
And then United Fruit made up this whole fucking thing during a time where everybody was watching out for fucking communism, and they didn't have any fucking proof. They just said he's a communist
It's an
he's gonna-
effective tool.
He's going to turn Guatemala into a communist country, and then we're going to be dealing with that shit.
We've touched before on the podcast about how just like money just makes it circles in the upper echelon, and
Yeah.
people just kind of fucking land somewhere. If you're brothers with the guy who runs the CIA, or
Yeah.
like some shit like that, you'll end up in a position of power that he can place you in. These money circles just run. So I doubt very much that the people running United Fruit Company gave a fuck about fruit. But like at a certain point, it's just like, hey, you want to run this giant successful corporation? We've
Yeah.
got an in.
Yeah. So what's funny is that Colonel Artemas's rebels didn't even actually like achieve this overthrow. Really, if it had just been like military might, Arbenz would have won because they had something like 400 rebels to Arbenz's like 3,000 troops.
Oh, it's just like Star Wars.
What?
It's like when Luke, Han, and Leia
Yeah.
are on the ice planet Hoth.
Yep.
Right, and the Empire
Mhm.
comes down with the T-28.
I remember.
T-200s. What are those fucking big walkers?
I don't know. I was sleeping inside
know?
of a tauntaun.
Yeah. And then you gotta cut the tauntaun open. You get it.
Yeah, I had just been attacked by an ice monster. I was
Yoda-
sleeping in a tauntaun. I missed the
Yoda
whole
Dagobah
thing.
system. But yeah, the Empire in this case
Dagobah
is
system.
United Fruit, right? And the little band of rebels.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, no, because Armas is working for United Fruit. So
Oh, we're going the other side. So in this case,
Guatemala is
okay. So it's like in Cloud City when Lando Calrissian betrays betrays Leia and Han to Darth Vader. Yeah, it's at the end of that movie. I started at the beginning of the movie. It's the end of the movie.
I don't know.
we're
There was
talking
the guy named Boba had me fixing his ship, so I missed the whole thing.
Funny
It makes really good tea.
about. He makes great tea.
It was a boba tea.
Yeah, I
joke.
got it. That's if you're not a
nobody's-
fan of Star Wars, Marcel, that's
You didn't
Boba Fett,
understand
who was a
any.
bounty hunter that worked for Jabba the Hutt, who was
Oh.
a crime lord on the planet Tatooine.
Yeah, who's
Okay.
trying to get what's his name, Han Solo,
Han Solo.
because Han Solo owes Jabba the Hutt a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford, right?
Harrison Ford. Yeah, you
Yes.
got it. Okay,
Yeah.
we're in. Yeah.
All right, so yeah, if it had just been military might, Arbenz would have won. What ultimately convinced Arbenz to step down was fucking American psyops convincing the Guatemalan army that if they kept this fight up, Guatemala would be invaded by the U.S., and they knew they wouldn't win that fucking fight.
Uh-huh.
So Arbenz steps down, Armas takes over, and immediately does dictator shit. He cracks down on any type of labor movements or unionization violently. Surprise, surprise, some of the fucking worst violence is directed at workers for United Fruit Company. He also did a bunch of other cool dictator
Got to
shit.
break them down so they start working again.
Yeah, he banned opposition parties. There was a lot of torturing, imprisoning, executing political rivals. Rolling back all the social reforms from this labor revolution. He executed like 3,000 to 5,000 of Arbenz's supporters in his first couple months
Real
of power.
Cambodian ass Pol Pot shit.
Genocide of the Mayan people. Tons of
Um,
fun stuff, right? This
Yeah. As
ends
if
up
they hadn't been through enough.
right. This ends up leading to 2 decades of civil war in Guatemala.
Dang. That's
Also
longer
that-
than our Civil War.
Also, that a company who, by the way, had a yearly profit of double what Guatemala's yearly GDP was,
Holy shit.
Right.
could keep controlling the land, the transportation, the only Atlantic port in Guatemala. You know, they owned all that to keep the fucking bananas flowing at the expense of third world misery and suffering. By the way, after this coup, the CIA launched Operation PB History, Peanut Butter History, to try and link the Arbenz government to link their documents to some sort of Soviet influence, to find evidence after the coup was over, which is how you do these things.
Yeah, right.
They couldn't find any.
Oh, wow. Clever.
And this is why so many countries in the world don't like the United States.
Operation PB History would be like Tommy Pickles going back to erase all like the
Finding out
footprints
about
and
George
stuff.
Washington Carver.
No, he's trying to
having his mind blown.
he has to put
a black guy.
He's got to put the jar of peanut butter back on the shelf, so his mom doesn't know that
He's got to fill it
climbed
up.
up there and
He's
got
got to
it.
fill it up with his little brother's poo
No, that's.
to make it
Do
look
you ever
like
even fucking watch Rugrats?
Yeah, he had a brother.
Jesus. Yeah,
Didn't
but
he have Dill, right?
Tommy Pickles is a noble character. He would never do something like that.
Was
and it
it?
was Dill, yes.
Still, right?
I was
Dill
trying to
Pickles.
make a joke about when you steal booze from the liquor cabinet and you fill it up with water to make it look like you never took any. He fills the peanut butter jar up with his little brother's poops to make it look like I never took the peanut butter. I don't know why it tastes
Tommy
funny.
Pickles would never do that.
Is Tommy Pickles
It's more of an
like,
Angelica thing.
like a name thing? Because like dill pickles
Yes.
makes sense. But
Yeah.
what is it
I don't
Tommy
think
Pickles
Tommy
for?
Pickles is one. I think dill pickles is a pun that they just threw on there when
At
they
last moment
yeah,
had
because
a.
the
Why
game-
we didn't think about this before, right?
the show had been
what were
out.
they gonna call him? Kosher?
They
Yeah.
should- the
Maybe
show had been
grandpa
out
should've-
before he had the brother. Like it had been out for a while.
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
think when they introduced that character, they were like,
Yeah.
let's make a joke. Dill.
Yeah, that was the decline of Rugrats, actually. I always thought, as a kid, I was like, you know what?
They're not the same.
The animation style has changed.
Yeah.
The budget obviously got
Yeah,
ramped up.
yeah.
Klasky Chupo, the animation company, they were making big changes in the animation department. It wasn't really my style anymore.
Yeah, they didn't feel the same, right?
Yeah, exactly. You got like 3 seasons of Rugrats, and then the thicker lines, different animation doesn't count.
But this is why people hate the United States, not because of Rugrats, because of United Fruit Company.
No, if anything, Rugrats would be the reason to like the United States.
It's always the people who like don't know shit about history and have never stepped foot out of the fucking country. Like the people, their idea of vacation is like, well, we're going to Nashville or Vegas or fucking Disneyland. They're always the ones who are like, well, they just hate Americans. As if the world just decided one day, it really just spun a wheel and it landed on U.S. and they were like, well, we're going to hate those guys.
Well, it does occur to me that most of the people in the world are people who never leave their area.
We have a history of doing bad guy shit. For every fucking World War II that we won, there's like a dozen really shitty fucking things that we've done. There's a dozen coups against foreign governments funded by the U.S. And this was one for a fucking banana company.
Yeah, America's rad. We win. Duh.
It's bananas, yeah.
That's bananas.
Bananas.
So
nuts.
what's
Banana nuts
No,
muffin.
nuts is a whole different.
Banana nut muffin. The whole thing.
what's fun? Well, not funny. That's probably not the word for it. What's interesting is that while this was all happening in Guatemala, there was a huge general strike in Honduras.
All the generals struck.
Genital strike.
Genital strike. He shot a missile at everybody's
God
dick.
damn, Marcel. You
Dick
gets it.
missiles.
You fit in on this podcast so well.
Pew, pew, genital strike.
Save that. Drew, cut that. Save that. He's already doing it.
Everyone gets a load.
Pew pew genital strike. So there was a huge strike in Honduras where Armas and his men were trained and armed against United Fruit Company due to basically the same type of shit going on in Honduras. The government of Honduras over the course of decades kept making concessions to United Fruit Company, right? And letting them control more and more
Like
and more.
Hot dogs and sodas and
More
stuff.
plantations, more roads, more rails, more ports, all without ever asking for any type of compromise from the company in terms of fair wages, decent treatment of workers, blah, blah, blah. This strike was 40,000 people and lasted 69 days. It
Nice.
basically shut their whole operation in Honduras down. And so United Fruit Company had to settle kind of quickly because they have this going on. They have Guatemala going on. They have all this. They have the fucking Great Depression going on. So they had to settle this kind of quickly. And they ended up settling it really favorably to the workers of Honduras, all while this bloody CIA-backed coup is going on next door in Guatemala. Fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Honduras has a pretty extensive history with United Fruit Company too. They just had a lot more moving pieces there. So United Fruit Company didn't have the monopoly in Honduras that they managed to establish in a lot of other places. So like starting in the 1830s, the president of Honduras wanted to bring in multinational companies to fuel the Honduran economy, which, like I said, like we were talking about before, it seems like a good thing up front. Like, hey, we're going to bring in this big company. They do, they're going to bring in a lot of money for the country. They're going to create a lot of jobs, et cetera, et cetera. So by making tax laws extremely lenient for foreign-owned companies and offering them a lot of other financial incentives, they ended up enticing a lot of fruit companies, right? Honduras was kind of the first competitive banana market.
Mhm.
So there was...
Competitive banana market sounds like a red light district, but like a really intense one.
This is a competitive banana market. That sounds like what you say when you go into a bar with like a 10-to-1 guy-girl ratio.
Sausage
Oh,
party.
yeah, this is a competitive banana market. Or if you go into a different kind of bar, it's like, oh, this is a competitive banana market.
Depends what you're looking for, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Depends on which side of the aisle
You can say it favorably or not.
Yeah.
Getting bullish on bananas.
So Vaccaro Brothers was there, which is now Dole Fruit Company. There was United Fruit Company was there. There was another U.S.-owned outfit called Cuyamel Fruit Company, which wasn't quite as big, but boy, was their owner a real fucking piece of shit. Like, dude, oh my God. Classic. We don't have time to get into all of it, but this guy's name was Sam Zemery. Sam Zemery. He went by Sam the Banana Man. I swear to God. And he was an
That's
absolute...
a t-shirt. That's our fucking t-shirt.
He was
for
an
this
absolute
episode right there.
cocksucker. He broke the U.S. Neutrality Act by buying a decommissioned naval vessel, loading it up with mercs out of New Orleans, and attacking the island of Roatan, which is like right off the... No, it's part of Honduras. It's right off the coast of Honduras.
It's a pretty place.
Oh, I thought you said
Pretty
it's
there?
a prison.
No, it's a pretty place.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
They attacked the island of Roatan with plans to take 2 Honduran port cities beyond that and start a coup to reinstall the exiled ex-president, Manuel Bonilla. By the way, this fucker was in and out of the banana business, lockstep with United Fruit Company. He ended up selling some of his businesses to United Fruit. He ended up becoming the president of United Fruit Company when they started the whole President Arbenz shit. He was the president of United Fruit.
Goddamn.
This guy, like I said, you know what the Neutrality Act, the U.S. Neutrality Act, right?
Yeah,
Right?
that's what we don't. We
A
don't
single
give-
citizen
no.
can't start a war
Yeah.
against a foreign company or a foreign. I've been saying country and company so intermittently that I keep stumbling over them. Against a foreign country. He bought a decommissioned naval vessel, loaded it up with people, and went and attacked Honduras.
Goddamn.
Just like that.
Yeah,
So what is that? What is the political response to that? Because he's obviously
he sold the vessel immediately. The Navy ended up catching it, but I don't think there was any.
But I mean, just like what?
I don't think he had to answer for any of it.
Because that would be if say if I were to do that, right?
Yeah.
Because the country already doesn't like me much. I'm on several watch lists. But good ones.
And
good,
adding more
good,
every
good
day.
politically active ones, not
Adding
like weird
more
ones.
every
okay?
day with this podcast.
But like, so if I got some jerks with guns and I attacked fucking, I don't know,
What did they do?
Norway, right?
Okay,
So just
sure.
fucking, I go attack Norway.
Mhm.
I'm gonna be subject to the laws of Norway, right? Like, it's not gonna be like
I'm not sure.
Norway's not gonna be like I'm at war with America now because this dickhead attacked us.
No, I'm not sure what the Neutrality Act dictates in terms of punishment. I know that traditionally the U.S. is really reticent to extradite people to foreign countries to be tried by that country. So I would imagine that the Neutrality Act says that you will be tried for some sort of war crimes here and not elsewhere. But I don't know specifically if that's correct or not. But I know that traditionally we don't give prisoners, political
fair.
or otherwise, to other countries.
You know what I would say the punishment for breaching the Neutrality Act would be?
Shot in the fucking face.
Yeah, shot by the dumpster.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a big shot by the dumpster guy. We solve a lot of problems that way.
Yeah. Out by the dumpster, one in the back of the head, done.
Big offenses, small offenses, whatever.
Next to it or inside?
Huh?
Next to it or inside it?
Oh, just you shoot them by the dumpster and then you throw them in the dumpster.
Why not just
It's
throw
just
in the
like-
dumpster and then shoot them?
It's kind of like having somebody dig their own
I
hole
get
before
you.
you shoot.
Yeah, I don't know. That seems
Get in
like
there.
there's a lot of crying involved.
No,
But
just
like,
get in there.
no, you just like
Get in there.
Get in there.
so like it's for me. It's like the trial comes out very Che Guevara with the whole thing. It's just like chomp a cigar and just like guilty. And then the guy's like, no, I'm not. And somebody drags him outside. Pop. You can hear it in the background.
Yeah, if somebody told me, if somebody had a gun and said, get in the dumpster, I'd be like, no.
No, you do it.
Yeah.
I'm not digging that.
Yeah, I'm
shit.
not making this easier for you. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
dig
a
your
good
own
one.
grave. Absolutely.
That's a good
not.
comeback.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good comeback.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to do that.
That would be that would be worse than getting
That's
shot.
every time I see anything where like they take them out to the desert and hand them a shovel and go dig.
Oh,
no.
fuck you,
What the
asshole.
hell?
Like,
No,
just-
I know where this
How about
movie
that? You
ends.
shoot me and then
Yeah.
you dig.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to be here all night, fucker.
Yeah, you're gonna spend 4 hours digging this hole with a dead
or
body.
somebody's
right
gonna
next to you.
find my body tomorrow.
Yeah.
You pick.
Yeah, either way.
So yeah, like I said, the whole so Sam Zemure was the president of United Fruit. He owned at one point Cuyamel Fruit Company in Honduras, but my whole point was that there were several, so they didn't have the hold on Honduras that they did in other countries. They had a pretty solid hold on it, but not like they did in other countries.
Goddamn, Roatan is beautiful. Look it up.
Yeah, it's very pretty. It's very pretty. So there were small Honduran banana plantations in the mix with all this other stuff. Part of the problem is the way that Honduras's agrarian laws were written and the concessions that were already made to like the big U.S. owned companies, Honduran farmers had trouble getting ownership of the land. So the agrarian laws were, by the way, that's agricultural law. So the agrarian laws were written in a way where like there were two types of land. One was land that was for everyone, but like you could improve the land, put a plantation on it, put a park on it, put a whatever, and then you could request to the government to buy the land after you had improved it. Or there was land that was available immediately. You can buy it, you can sell it, you can whatever. The other type of land had like restrictions on
homesteading and commons law.
Right. Well, the other type of land that you had to improve first had restrictions on how you could sell it, when you could sell it, et cetera. So that was the way that the law was written, and so these big U.S. fruit companies owned almost all of the land that was available for immediate buying and selling. And so any of these Honduran banana farmers had to do all the work up front and then go, hey, can we buy this now? Have we made it nice enough that we can buy it and own it? So that was a big part of the issue was that right. Well, and that was so frequently.
In fact, you have to leave.
So frequently, because companies like United Fruit in Honduras had so much sway over the government, they would coerce the government to say, no, you can't have it. And then they would come in and they would go, oh, cool, there's already a banana plantation here. And then they would petition the government, and the government
how
would say,
convenient. We
hey,
also deal in bananas.
Yeah. So then the government would say, yeah, you can buy it, guys. And then what the local banana workers would end up left with were these fields that had already been decimated by previous, plantation, like banana trees that had been, because the way you have to give that land time to like to be that soil to be ready to be planted on again. And so they would be left with that shit. And by the way, at this point, Panama disease is already a thing, which is affects banana trees, and you have to like just slash and burn everything if you get Panama disease on your plantation. So that's what the Honduran farmers would get left with, is like, here, this is the shit we already fucked this up. You can have that.
Man, you really know a lot about bananas.
Thanks.
It's impressive.
you.
Done a lot of
Impressive,
banana research.
So the other thing they would do, is they would make these small farms enter exclusive contracts with these big United Fruit type companies that you can only sell your fruit to them. Right? So then they go 2 cents. No? Okay, keep the fucking bananas.
Yeah, we don't want your fucking bananas anyway.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. And so you'd have to have an exclusive contract to get the rights to the land. So some fuck shit going on in
It's
general.
some fuck shit. Really, what we're talking
Manipulation.
about. We should actually retitle these episodes "Fuck Shit" Part 1 and 2.
We could title the entire podcast "Fuck Shit with Patrick and Riley."
It's pretty much all we talk about. It's like, man, that's some fuck shit.
Sometimes I call it ruin everything instead of delete everything, because right now we're doing it. And sorry guys, you'll never look at bananas the same again. But so obviously over time, and with this huge labor movement surging through Central America from the 30s all the way into now still, it kind of pops. It's interesting because it like pops off in one place and then it gets tamped down there, but not before it catches on someplace else. And then it has to get tamped down there, and then it springs up somewhere else. So Central and South America have been playing like workers' rights whack-a-mole for basically a fucking century.
Right. And in like the broader CIA funded picture, you can see that like they're kind of like rotating crops. You can see it's very much like rotating crops.
Right.
You're gonna let people like have their independence a little bit over here and grow their little worker rebellion and let everyone feel like, yeah, we're really doing something, while you're decimating another uprising over here. And then you're gonna fucking cycle back around when the seasons change and come and tamp this one down while this one grows.
So Honduras had this.
They're just cultivating a big fucking banana farm all across the world, and like, but their crop is workers, so they're just fucking yeah.
So that's why I was saying, like, while they are actively funding a coup in Guatemala, right next door they're going, okay, fine, we'll give you guys better money and workers' rights, like because you can only focus on so much at a time, I guess. So
yeah, until we bring the death squads this way. Our death
until
squads are busy over here. So for now, we'll give you a raise and some food. And then, but when the death squad's done, they're gonna come. You better get those feet ready because we're fucking putting the irons to them.
So now let's get into Colombia, right? You guys know how much I love Colombia. Talk about it all the time. It's probably my second favorite South American country. I'm sorry, Marcel.
It's okay.
I've never been to South America. I've always wanted to see Peru, though.
I love Peru. I've only been to 3 South American countries at this point. Marcel and I have had a plan for 5 years to do this motorcycle trip.
Mm-hmm. Gonna do the reverse motorcycle diaries. Yeah, you were saying that. Yeah.
So like 5 years ago, we came up with this plan. We're to fly down to Patagonia, Argentine, Patagonia, right? Cross into Chile, buy motorcycles from just some locals,
Uh-huh.
and then
Beat them up, take them.
and then no, buy them, and then bike up the coast of what's the road?
Panamericana.
Panamericana, yeah.
Yeah.
There's the highway that goes all the way up the coast of Chile. It's 4,000 miles.
Hell yeah.
And then when we get to Peru, sell the motorcycles, go hang out with Marcel's family in Lima for a little bit, and then fly back.
That's a good trip. 4,000 miles isn't so bad.
I think it would cost. So what do we worked it out? I think a little bit, or maybe I did. It was like 3 weeks. It was going to be. It's not expensive to eat or drink. We've talked about bringing like just tents, like tent camping along the road.
Bunch of bananas too.
Bunch of bananas.
There's so many bananas in there.
Hands and hands of bananas. Don't look underneath them. It's banana powder. But I don't know. What do you think? But should we do like one day when we have enough listeners? We need more listeners. Do a GoFundMe and bring like a camera crew and do the whole thing.
Cool. I'll be
You
your,
and Drew?
you know what? I'll be the camera crew because I don't ride fucking motorcycles.
Yeah, you and Drew, and we'll find like a video guy.
Get a sidecar.
You guys get
Sidecar for you.
And the little fucking aviator goggles and a helmet. Yeah.
and a leather cap.
Yeah, the fucking scarf. Yeah.
No, you and
It's so
Drew,
cool.
and we find we have to know a good videographer. You guys follow in like a car, like a truck, like a rental car, and we just film the whole fucking thing. Marcel and I riding up the coast. You guys and all the camping and all the stopping.
Stop and we do a little
stopping in
historical.
random,
What's it? Yeah.
stopping in random little coastal towns in Chile and meeting people and talking to people and fucking eating good food.
Fuck yeah.
We can.
At some point, we need to do a GoFundMe.
Yeah, I'm into it.
I think it would.
It's fun.
We do some quick math here. 5 people. It's about $1,100 for the flights. So that's $5,500 for 3 weeks.
You can eat for like $1-2 sometimes in those areas, little spots, and they're good.
I would say we could get away with doing costing just north of $10K because we also have to send. Well, we don't need like a lot of equipment.
Nah.
So you don't have
Couple
to
of
check
good
a bunch of
digital cameras.
big. Yeah.
Dude, we can hunt some stuff. We can go fishing and just cook them.
Yeah. Fuck
Yeah.
I
yeah.
can cook some stuff.
I'm into that. Yeah. Hell yeah.
You know how to cook?
Yeah, I think.
Honestly, it would
think
kind of be like the best moment of our
It would be
lives.
like the
I think.
coolest 3
We
weeks.
could have Marcel cook like some shit in the
just
jungle.
fucking. I found this guinea pig.
Yeah, exactly.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Let's have some cuy on the side of the road in fucking Chile. Dude, we should do a GoFundMe at some point.
You heard it here first, folks.
You guys, if you like that idea, if you want to see video footage
Our
of
Patreon
us,
memberships are now $1,000 a month. Mike.
yeah, and we already just changed it, so you're getting charged now.
You'll see the whole thing, like all the fun stuff, the struggles, you know?
It'll be good. It'll be
All
good.
the shit.
I have an idea to do something like that on the back of this show once we get to a certain level of popularity and fame.
On this last, I know we're still digressing a little bit. On this last trip up to the north that I just went on, I went through a bunch of towns that are like closed because it was still winter. It was fucking like March. And like in Maine, like northern Maine,
A lot of people
bunch
just get the fuck out.
The place is still fucking closed, like restaurants and stuff.
yeah.
The town is closed until like late April when things warm up. I wanted
Until
to
people
go,
want to leave their house.
I wanted to go to Wilhelm Reich's Organon compound,
yeah.
right? And I contacted the people that run that museum. It's closed until late April because fucking everything's
and you tried to get them to like just do it for you.
Yeah,
and they were
I
like,
did. They were
"No."
like, "No, asshole." But I had this idea.
But I run a semi-prestigious podcast.
that I've mentioned you on. But like I had this idea for like a travel documentary show called Off Season, where you go to all these towns where like
Oh, that's cool.
like in the time of the year where it's just locals, no tourists
Yeah.
going through, and just like look at the way people live without like that industry.
Alaska would be
cool.
cool for that because when I was in Alaska, it was like a month before almost everybody I met was like, yeah, we're leaving in September.
Yeah, that's what my friend from culinary school does. Like he started like getting on at first. I think it was a bike or something. He just traveling to small little areas and just like going to holes in the walls that are good. Eat and then just like he got sponsored by that. Then Subaru actually started sponsoring him. So Subaru gives him a car.
Oh, that's
Wow.
awesome.
So yeah, it's a different new stuff. Like he's actually popular. He's a huge following. He was a model. Also,
Oh.
of course, doesn't make it hard.
What's
yeah.
his
I'm a
name? What's
model
his
and I know how
name?
to cook.
What's
and
his
I'm
name?
popular on the
Plug
internet.
him. Plug him on the podcast. We'll tag him.
The show is called Viaja y Prueba, which is like travel and try. So and his name is Luciano.
Cool.
Yeah, beautiful man.
He sounds like a dick.
He's super cool. He
I know, I'm
serves.
jealous. I'm just jealous.
Yeah, he's like he was a really good student too. Like he had like
Yeah.
his grades were great too.
God, good at cooking, handsome,
Travel sponsorship
Popular.
by Subaru.
getting
Yeah,
paid.
You
go.
want a Subaru? That's a
What a
good
dick.
car.
Where's he from?
Peru.
Oh.
Huh?
Mm, damn it.
Yeah, we'll tag him in the video description. Anyway, what are we talking
I
about? Fucking
bet I
fruit?
would love him. We're talking about Colombia. So the history in Colombia is another like really deep one that involves one of the most tragic, fucking evil, and you know I don't like that word. Absolutely fucking evil acts by United Fruit Company imaginable, right? So, oh God, he is good looking. Fuck, dick. So, as we already talked about, when United Fruit Company was originally created, Minor Keith had banana operations in Colombia. Nothing crazy, but United Fruit Company started off with those holdings. And what do you think they did?
Let me think. I'm not going to make a guess.
It rhymes with fuck shit.
Oh, they did some fuck shit.
Yeah, they started encroaching on smaller locally owned plantations. If those farmers fought back, they would petition/bribe the Colombian government to create fake land titles so that they could claim ownership. And because of the deals that United Fruit Company was making with the government and local, wealthy people in the area where all those plantations were, the poorer, smaller banana farmers just couldn't fight it. Even through legal means, they typically couldn't win and just lost their land. While United Fruit Company just slowly but surely created another vertically integrated monopoly.
Classic.
In Colombia, they had the banana plantations,
They're good at
railway,
that.
port access, all that shit, along with favorable labor laws and huge tax breaks. So the Colombian people, as with most South America, I know Brazil is big. I'm not sure how Peru is. Very, very well documented history of being vocally political. Is Peru that way?
Yeah.
Very like politics. They're very vocally political.
Yeah.
Brazil's that way. Colombia's that way. Peru apparently is that way.
Yeah.
I think most of South and Central America is very.
That's where you always see the reports of like people coming out dressed in like tribal garb and, and fucking painted
Yeah.
faces to political meetings. And,
Very passionate people.
yeah,
They are.
yeah.
So
My people don't do that. My people eat potatoes in the dark and just
they get
wait for
drunk.
things to change. Yeah, we'll stand outside the courthouse and just look at you
Oh,
like
I've got
solemnly.
this potato.
Yeah.
Do I eat it now to avoid starvation, or do I let it ferment and drink it later?
Yeah. Why not both?
Maybe I'll eat half of it now and half of it as a drink.
It's I always picture the Irish just like eating their cold potatoes until like somebody comes through and says, did you hear the English again have fucked us? And he goes, well, get the guns. And that's it.
So as United Fruit Company is building this monopoly again in Colombia, Colombia's Liberal Party starts attacking their Conservative Party for making this perfect system for United Fruit Company to exploit Colombia's workers and their land and their resources. This is Colombia's Liberal and Conservative Party in the fucking late 1800s, right? Early 1900s. It has nothing to do with modern U.S. politics, so don't fucking at me when I'm talking about conservative liberal, all right? Leave me the fuck alone. A lot of Colombians were very upset that United Fruit Company is getting all these tax breaks on top of concessions to operate railways and ports and, on top of suspiciously expanding their land holdings. And so they are profiting immensely from the resources and labor of the country and putting virtually nothing into the national treasury by way of taxation on this huge monopoly, right? El Pueblo, still growing. So naturally, the Liberal Party, they put a lot of pressure on United Fruit Company to create more equitable working conditions for the labor force. A lot of these strikes in all of these countries is centered around housing. among other things. These plantations are fucking sprawling, and they're mostly in extremely rural areas. So the working hours are insane. Commuting is not an option. You can't commute to and from work when you're working fucking, I saw 20-hour days. So United Fruit Company would bang up like these creaky little shacks or like big, housing barracks that were just fucking shitty.
Yeah,
They're just fucking falling
what
apart.
do they call it? Not boom towns, but like the same kind of concept.
Yeah. So they would just bang up these little fucking barracks for laborers to sleep in, and
you put a bar, you put a whorehouse, and like bam, there's your fucking.
And most of the time, there wasn't even enough room for all of the people that worked there to sleep in there, and that's like basically stacked on top of one another to begin with, and there still isn't room. And then demand that they fucking work the rest of the time, like I said, literally 20-hour shifts.
Right.
You got 4 to sleep and 20 to work. And so naturally, when these labor strikes occur, one of the big requests is, hey, can we work shorter days and have like a decent place to live since we have to stay here on company property because it's in the middle of fucking nowhere? Also, can we maybe have some water to drink in this blistering heat? That was another huge thing that was constantly on like workers' rights demands is saying like, can we have access to water while we work? You think about working all fucking day in a tropical climate with no water.
Right. The fucking bugs and shit, spiders in the bananas, fucking
Mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes everywhere,
Yeah, Harry Belafonte said it's something about hiding a black tarantula.
He was like, Harry Belafonte.
Yeah. Just playing on the loudspeaker all day. So there are tons of stories and photos of barrack housing overflowing where workers have to like live in cardboard boxes and shit. Like I said, no access to water, no electricity. Absolutely no fucking.
No.
They're going to bring electricity out to fucking rural Colombia. Give me a break. And
It's like all the fun of camping with none of the fun of camping.
If it rains, it rains.
Yeah, that sucks. And it rains. Maybe you go out and pick some bananas.
Yeah.
You get open your mouth because all the water you get.
Get some water. Fine, this is the water you've been asking for. Get back in the field.
Jesus. So United Fruit Company is just perpetuating this cycle of like horrific poverty while making millions of dollars off the back end. Naturally, these Liberal Party members and the Colombians living in this area want United Fruit Company to give something back, to the country of Colombia in exchange for being allowed to make millions off of its resources. And this leads to a ton of strikes. Some of them are worse than others. One in particular is fucking especially horrific, right? We're going to jump back in the time machine a little bit and scooch back to 1928 in Santa Marta, Colombia, which is near Cartagena.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the same state as Cartagena. So this is on the Caribbean coast of Colombia. So, Panama hits Colombia there where it goes from Central or technically North America to South America.
Yeah,
You've got a Pacific coast and a Caribbean coast, right? So it's on the northern Caribbean coast of
And
Colombia.
it's like African, Latin American.
Yeah.
Mostly because,
Yeah, so workers there, frustrated with the conditions, decided they're going to have a big strike. And this is part of like an ongoing series of strikes that started in early October of 1928. So starting on this particular day, November 12th, 1928, at least 25,000 people just from United Fruit Company participate. On top of that, there are other labor rights activists, and there's like some communist, workers' rights groups that are there. There's like a lot of other people on top of the 25,000 from United Fruit. And they basically say, look, we're not working until you can grant us some sort of dignified working conditions, right? Their list of crazy, wacky demands included, but is not limited to, mandatory collective insurance, compensation for work accidents, which I'm sure there were many, hygienic dormitories, and 6-day work week. Not even 5-day work weeks, 6-day work weeks. Increase in pay for workers.
A fucking day off.
Yeah. Increase of pay for workers who earned less than 1,000 pesos per month. Hey, we make less than 1,000 pesos in a month working 20-hour days and living in a shithole. Can we maybe have a little more money? A weekly wage, abolition of office stores. This is them paying in company coupons, right? Abolition of payment. Well, that's my next thing. Abolition of payments through coupons rather than money, and improvement of hospital services, right? The one thing that I did leave out, the not limited to part, was that they wanted to be recognized as company employees.
What year were we doing? What years is this happening?
This is happening in 1928.
1928.
Mm-hmm.
Because the translation of 1,000 Colombian pesos is 24 American cents.
Oh, cool. It's less than 100 pesos.
Oh,
So 2.4 cents.
0.024 cents.
So, like I said, the one part, the not limited to part, they want to be recognized as company employees. Colombia had implemented new labor laws in the 1920s, and United Fruit Company was able to skirt those laws by hiring workers as subcontractors. Hence, being able to avoid offering insurance or workman's comp for on-the-job accidents. You're just you're contracted out, right? You're not an actual employee of United Fruit. So that was one of the things they wanted to do, is to be recognized as actual employees. So we know enough about fucking United Fruit Company's playbook at this point to know what their response was, right? Not only are they not willing to negotiate with these fucking peasants, we've also got people talking to your government.
Yeah, like you're.
Yeah.
The answer is not only no, it's fuck you.
It's so, you know how you have this conservative government in charge? We're going to tell them you're fucking communists.
Yep.
And that's what they did. They told them that these labor rights activists were subversive communists trying to use their underhanded commie tricks. And if you guys don't come help us calm them down, we can just stop selling Colombian bananas to the US and Europe, and you guys can figure it out. And that's what they fucking did. So December 5th, 1928, this is 23 days into this strike, 23 days of United not having any product moving because all of 25,000 workers are striking, right? You got to believe that 25,000 people working 20 hours a day. It's a lot of bananas, baby.
That's a lot of bananas. How you even gonna? No wonder the tally man was taking a while.
Yeah.
There's always money in the banana. Stand up and pick more bananas. So on December 5th, there are about 1,500, we think, 1,500 banana workers with their families hanging out in the town square in Ciénaga, which is adjacent there to Santa Marta. They've been camping out in this town square as part of the strike, right? But on this particular day, it's a Sunday, so everyone has just left Sunday Mass, and they're waiting for this this address from the governor, right? The governor of Magdalena, which is the state where Santa Marta and Ciénaga are. And this is big, highly anticipated address from the governor. Unbeknownst to them, the president has declared a state of siege and okayed the deployment of 700 troops to the area.
Oh, goddamn.
Yep. The chief in this area, General Cortés Vargas, actually requested 300 men from Antioquia, which is the state where Medellin is located. It's the next state over, right? He refused to have any troops from Magdalena come to join that force because they might have friends and family in the crowd.
Oh, fuck.
So immediately you can't help but to sort of raise an eyebrow at like, well, what are you going there to do?
Not something you want to do to your friends and family.
Yeah, what are your plans, bud? So 700 troops arrive by train, and they head to the rooftops of the buildings that flank this square and just casually start setting up tripod-mounted machine guns.
Holy shit. It's a kill box.
So we don't know if this was seen by strikers or if it was done stealthily. We don't know like if it raised some sort of ruckus and people started yelling at the troops or if they ran away. Or really, we don't know a lot of what happened because there has not ever been an accurate account of what happened here on this
In general, you can just kind of figure they didn't wait for the crowd to get too crazy. They waited for a signal.
A lot of the history of this particular event has been buried, right? It's difficult to find.
It's under the bananas.
With the cocaine. So
Banana powder.
with the banana powder.
Which is how you're supposed to smoke bananas, by the way. You bake them, and then you crush it into a powder, then you smoke it.
In Medellin, Colombia, you can get banana-flavored or scented cocaine, actually.
Oh, interesting.
And
I've actually
chocolate-
heard about this.
And chocolate and strawberry.
What did Tim tell us about the fucking the drug that's like some super fucking party drug? I can't remember.
Tussi?
Could be it.
That one, the pink one?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Pussy?
yeah,
Tussi.
pussy. Yeah, the party
Also,
drug.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Tusi. He said it was like an incredible drug experience.
Oh, jeez.
They also have a crazy drug out there that controls minds. I heard on Vice News once.
Jesus. So what we do know from accounts of people that have sort of cobbled together, the facts that we have on this, and the stories vary widely, is that there was probably a standoff for several hours because at some point in the night, the Colombian government issues an order to fire on the strikers. These are unarmed, poor, we know because they work for fucking United Fruit Company. They're there with their wives and fucking children in tow, and the soldiers just fucking air them out.
Goddamn.
I don't believe this particular part because it just seems implausible, but there's a story that when this, the smoke and the petrified civilians had cleared, there were only 9 dead bodies, and the government sort of peddles this stupid notion that it was one body for each of their demands, each of their commie demands, right?
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems more just like
Yeah. That just seems too poetic and like I said, it's just unlikely.
Yeah, it's very like
Yeah, you set up tripod mounted machine guns and only took out 9 people in
could have done that with a handgun.
crowded square. Yeah,
I don't believe it.
So I don't believe that, but it doesn't matter because they weren't quite done yet. The military continues into the next day, hunting down and killing at least 1,000 strikers.
Jeez.
The official count is anywhere from 47 people to 2,000 people.
God damn, that is a big difference.
47, the number 47 is very specific, obviously. We know that because that's what General Cortés Vargas claims that he is minimally responsible for, right? I killed 47 people,
Whoa.
which is a weird brag, but okay. Yeah. I killed 47 of my fellow Colombians. We can safely assume that it's 1,000 plus. I'll tell you why in a second. So the Colombian government didn't act alone on this. They were the triggermen, and I mean, obviously that's fucking unconscionable, and I hope that everything fucking bad happened to Cortés Vargas and President Miguel Méndez, who was the fucking conservative president at the time. Who
also, how do you sympathize with the fucking soldiers that do that shit?
How are you the president of a country that's okay with firing on thousands of unarmed people, regardless of how opposed you are to what they're pissed off about?
If they're not murdering children with a hammer in the fucking square, don't fire on them. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like they're not violent people.
No,
they're just
they were
fucking
like
protesting.
I said, unarmed protesters with their fucking families there.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucked.
So
That kind of thing that radicalized me in my youth.
yeah. So like I said, the Colombian government did not act alone. Who do you think helped them out a little bit?
The Central Intelligence Agency.
Not quite as bad as Guatemala. So remember those psyops though in Guatemala?
Did they call in Hoggish Greedley to fund the?
Do you remember the psyops that worked real well in Guatemala? If you guys don't cut this shit out, we're gonna have to invade you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So they said same shit. If you guys in the government can't take care of this, we're gonna have to invade you and take care of it ourselves. Right? Same shit. Did it again, baby.
Not terribly long after this is when the Cuban Revolution goes down. Yeah. And shortly after that is when Che Guevara finds himself in Honduras, I believe, trying to train people for guerrilla warfare against these exact same forces.
Same shit.
And then getting taken out by the CIA.
Jonathan Jovi.
Yep.
So yeah, United Fruit Company had leveraged its ties in the U.S. government to threaten to send the Marine Corps and invade Colombia if the government didn't, quote, protect the company's interests and end the strike. And we've got receipts on this one, right? This is a telegram from Bogota Embassy to the United States Secretary of State, a guy named Frank B. Kellogg. I hope B stands for butthole. Frank Butthole.
Bitch ass.
Butthole. So this is dated December 5th. So the day that this shit goes down, right? So this is from the ambassador in Bogota, Colombia, to the U.S. Secretary of State. I have been following Santa Marta fruit strike through United Fruit Company representative here, also through Minister of Foreign Affairs, who on Saturday told me government would send additional troops and would arrest all strike leaders and transport them to a prison in Cartagena. That government would give adequate protection to American interests involved.
We'll transport to Cartagena.
Yeah. So
Stop.
So next day, telegram from Santa Marta consulate, right? So in the same state, this isn't Bogota, this is right there. This is the consulate in Santa Marta. So somebody for the U.S. State Department to, again, the U.S. Secretary of State, dated December 6th, the next day. Feeling against the government by the proletariat, which is shared by some of the soldiers, is high, and it's doubtful that we can depend upon the Colombian government for protection. May I respectfully suggest that my request for the presence within calling distance of an American warship be granted and that it stand off subject to my call. It is admitted that the character of the strike has changed and that the disturbance is a manifestation with a subversive tendency. So this is the next day after the original firing happened at night on the 5th. This is the next day while they're still hunting down and killing strikers. And this guy is saying, can you send a warship and have it park offshore and I'll make the call on the strike. You give me the authority.
God damn.
I'll make the call, have it stand down. And if I decide, well, we need it, then we can do that, right? Respectfully requesting that. Okay. So this is.
But like what? Like level the fucking town?
I guess so. I don't know. So
If we make the call, let's just kill everyone in the fucking city. Like,
so next day, December 7th, 1928, right? This is back to Bogota, ambassador to the U.S. Secretary of State. Situation outside Santa Marta City, unquestionably very serious. Outside zone is in revolt. Military who have orders, quote, not to spare ammunition, have already killed and wounded about 50 strikers. Government now talks of general offensive against strikers as soon as all troop ships now on the way arrive early next week. Next day, December 8th, from Santa Marta Consulate to the U.S. Department of State. The legation at Bogota reports that categorical orders have been given the authorities at Santa Marta to protect all American interests. The department does not, repeat, not desire to send a warship to Santa Marta. Keep the department informed of all developments by telegraph. So,
protects all American interests. So freedom, liberty, justice.
yeah, the Colombian way, baby. So this is Bogota saying to the guy in Santa Marta, we're not sending you a ship.
Right.
Like, by the way, this has already gone down days ago.
Yeah.
Like, no,
Everybody
we're not
dead
doing it.
already.
Yeah. Protect American interests, right?
Dude, it's really hard to make dick jokes to all this.
I know, right? Well, I'm almost done with the telegraphs.
That's a fucking bummer. They're like shooting women and children.
Yeah, I know. It's
I don't
terrible.
want to make dick jokes about it.
History blows, dude. So this is the next day, December 9th, 1928.
There's a good title for the podcast. History blows.
History does blow. So this is from, again, Santa Marta Consulate to the Secretary of State. Troop train from Banana Zone just arrived. You can make a joke about that one. You want a troop train to the Banana Zone, baby?
Hey, guys, hop on board the troop train to the Banana Zone. Just Banana Zone is fucking that's good.
What was the gay club with the banana?
That was the United Fruit Company. The Boston Fruit Company.
The Boston Fruit Company.
Yeah, now it's the Banana Zone.
Anybody want to take the troop train to the Banana Zone?
Hey!
Hey. Just pointing at your ass. Troop train to the Banana Zone, boys. So, see, you got a good one in there.
That's not bad.
Even in the middle of all the devastation and atrocities. So yeah, troop train for Banana Zone just arrived in Santa Marta with all American citizens. No Americans killed or wounded. Guerrilla warfare now continuing in the zone, but military forces are actively engaged in clearing the district of the communists. This is 4 days in.
Crazy how many places are just filled with communists.
So many communists. They're all over the place, man.
All over the place.
Jesus. So this isn't even Cold War shit. This is pre-World War II.
Yeah.
So this is 1928. So another one from Santa Marta to the Secretary of State. This is 2 days later, December 11th. So 6 days after the original event. Looting and killing was carried on from the moment the announcement of a state of martial law was made, and the fact that American residents in the zone came out of it alive is due to the defense they put up for 6 hours when they held off the mob that was bent upon killing them. I was justified in calling for help, and I shall welcome the opportunity to defend the position that I took on the morning of the 6th until the afternoon of the 8th. This is the guy who requested the warship. He's saying, well, you guys are lucky. These American citizens only made it because they put up a defense for 6 hours on a mob that was hell-bent on killing them. I was justified in asking for a warship.
Well, fine. Maybe, you know what? Don't give me the warship, whatever. But I just want you to know.
They had a really hard time for 6 hours.
It would have been really bad, and I really could have used a warship.
None of them died, but
it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. They made it, but really, the warship, I asked for it because we needed it.
Yeah, it would have been cool, too. It would have looked cool.
It would have been fucking...
So same day from Bogota Embassy to the Secretary of State. This is fun. The opposition press, that is, the press of the Liberal Party, is conducting a violent campaign against the government for the methods used in breaking up the strike and is bandying ugly words about, especially referring to the Minister of War and the military forces. Words such as murderer and assassin being used. Although the thinking people of the country realize that it was only the government's prompt action that diverted a disaster, this insidious campaign of the liberal press will undoubtedly work up a great deal of feeling against the government and will tend to inculcate in the popular mind a belief that the government was unduly hasty in protecting the interests of the United Fruit Company. The conservative journals are defending the government's course, but I doubt that their counterfire will suffice to do away with the damage the liberal journals are causing.
Hold
Are you
on.
fucking
hold
kidding
on.
me?
Now I'm not saying anything prescient, but are you saying that this conservative commentator, right?
Well, this is a Department of State guy in Bogota.
Yeah. So
Reporting
reporting that the liberal media is like blowing up how we shouldn't have killed all of these innocent people
and saying ugly words like assassin and murderer.
And they're critiquing how the liberal media is like fucking being mean about this fucking massacre.
Suck it up, snowflake.
Is this a banana massacre?
This is the banana massacre.
Jesus.
So finally, we have 2 left.
Operation Banana Massacre.
So this is from like 18 days later, right? This is dispatch from Bogota Embassy to the U.S. Secretary of State. This is December 29th, right? I had the honor to report that the legal advisor of the United Fruit Company here in Bogota stated yesterday that the total number of strikers killed by the Colombian military authorities during the recent disturbance reached between 500 and 600, while the number of soldiers killed was 1. The honor to report that.
Wow, that's a violent ass crowd.
Yeah. No shit, right?
Like 1 soldier died, huh?
Yeah. A couple weeks later, same guy, Bogota ambassador to the U.S. Secretary of State. This is the last one. I have the honor, again, so honorable, bud. Honored to report that the Bogota representative of the United Fruit Company told me yesterday that the number of total strikers killed by the Colombian military exceeded 1,000. So those are the receipts we have in the form of telegraph communications from U.S. State Department employees being in cahoots with United Fruit Company, I guess, heads, executives.
That's what you get when you rock the banana boat, man.
Eat the banana. Shh.
Fucking like, okay, what you just did there, what you just said, immediately conjured in my mind like a military, like a Navy SEAL type.
Yeah,
fucking sneaking up on somebody and just banana.
Instead of stabbing him, going shh, 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 it's just shoving a banana in their mouth.
In their ass.
In their oh gosh! Shh.
Cover the mouth, right?
Hand over the mouth, banana in the ass. So
that's what we should call the podcast.
Hand over the mouth, banana in the ass. So this is the direct result of American military threats coerced by a private multi-million-dollar leech of a fucking corporation to pressure the Colombian government into absolutely fucking deplorable measures to protect what?
Bananas, right?
The interests of one corporation.
Gotta protect the bananas.
That barely pays your country shit to strip your resources and work your citizens to death.
Right. I feel like there could have been a different economic plan rather than just sucking the banana, as it were.
Oh my God. So we, by the way, part of the reason why we don't have a body count is we don't fucking know what happened to the bodies.
Ooh.
This is...
I bet you I know what happened to the bodies.
Well...
Gotta fertilize those bananas.
Well, one account is that they were buried in a mass grave. I tend to believe that they would have been found and recovered at this point, if that's the case. The more likely theory, and I think it's what most historians believe, is that they were dumped into the sea.
Ooh.
Which is, I don't even know how to fucking process that.
Just dumping 1,000 bodies into the sea.
Bodies of men, women, and children who were fucking mowed down into the ocean and going... Yeah.
Dude, that is fucking
done
wild.
with that.
Wouldn't they find that?
A truckload after truck. I mean, no, the sea will eat it after a while. That's,
yeah, I mean,
you know, like bodies will float for a time, but then once they've become waterlogged, they'll like those air bubbles will burst.
Yeah, and especially in like a rural area like this. I mean, we're talking about Santa Marta, which is now beautiful and great, and you can have an awesome vacation there. But in 1928, who the fuck knows what was there? It was a little village, you know?
Yeah, fuck. But sharks, just regular fish, plankton over time, bodies.
Yeah, the
bodies
scavengers,
disappear in the
crabs.
ocean. Yeah,
That shit.
bodies don't come out of the ocean really.
No.
You know.
I see a
So
bunch. I see a bunch.
I see a
On
bunch.
TV.
I feel like you're more likely to find bodies in like rivers, streams, lakes, stuff like that. But if it's
Yeah.
like in the ocean for more than a week, I mean,
Yeah, there's too much
Yeah.
shit that's gonna eat them.
yeah, and
So-
bones don't do well in that environment either. Like
Yeah.
over time, skeletons just dissolve.
Mm-hmm.
Do they float?
Skeletons?
Yeah.
The skeletons.
Interesting
won't.
question. I don't think so.
No, I don't think the
Because
bones will
it's
float.
porous, right? now.
They
Yeah,
are
they're
porous,
porous,
but I don't
yeah.
think they'll float. I think they'll decay and get.
Editor's note: bones generally do not float.
So there is one particular survivor, a United Fruit Company worker by the name of Luis Vicente Gomez, who hid under a bridge for 3 days to avoid being murdered. He later became a pretty famous figure in Colombia. He would broadcast a memorial over the radio every year on the anniversary of the massacre. Amazingly, he's not a simple search on the internet. I couldn't find much, if anything, on this guy.
Yeah.
Which you would think there'd be something. I mean, I'm talking like in English or Spanish. Like it was hard to find shit about him
They're keeping it under the bananas.
with the powder. So this event, like we mentioned earlier, is what inspired Gabriel Garcia Marquez, the 100 Years of Solitude.
Oh yeah.
Which
Wow,
is-
really? The banana massacre.
Yeah.
Is,
Cien años de
is-
soledad. I read it in Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you are listening and you have not read that book, you should. It's a super quick read. I think
Yeah, I mean, I
fucking-
actually truly love that book. I think it's
it's a
I
good
love
book.
the slow start, the mysticism and shit that
Yeah.
they talk about at the beginning.
Yeah.
That I love all that stuff. It's really beautiful.
And then there's a fruit related massacre at the
Hey,
end.
you know what are you gonna do?
The good news, the very, very tiny silver lining here, is that the fallout from this caused Miguel Mendez, the president at the time, and the Conservative Party to be absolutely fucking trounced in the 1930 election. That ended 44 years of that party being in charge in Colombia. The bad news is that this was the beginning of inter-party fighting in Colombia between the liberal and conservative governments. 18 years after this all goes down was an assassination of a liberal presidential candidate, Jorge Gaitan, which then caused a giant fucking riot in Bogota, which then turned into La Violencia, which was a decade-long civil war between the conservative and liberal parties where lots of people died. So, what happened to United Fruit Company?
I assumed that they saw the error of their ways and slowly but surely dismantled all of their properties and distributed any remaining wealth to the people affected by this massacre and other associated people of South America affected by their dishonest things.
Oh, you're so close.
Okay.
You're very close. In 1984, in an attempt to clean up its justifiably horrible image, it changed its name to Chiquita Brands International.
Ooh.
Put it
Chiquita
on your list,
bananas.
Drew. Put it on your list, Drew.
Already there, baby.
Only Aldi bananas from now on.
I don't buy anything anymore.
Yeah, Drew. Marcel, Drew is very punk rock in his sentiments towards big companies.
Yeah.
And if he disagrees with a company or finds them, say, guilty of atrocities, he just fucking will not participate in them at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, fair.
Amazon Prime, Publix, fucking the list goes on.
Well, and I keep doing horrible things to make him add to that list.
Oh, man, I'm good. I appreciate it.
You're gonna turn him Amish at some point.
Yeah. Drew now eats dirt and
I mean, like,
and recycles his own urine.
Depends on what happened on the dirt.
I've been trying to tell him electricity is ghosts, but he's still using electricity. So.
Oh man, you don't even know you're fucking supporting all these ghosts.
No,
Dear
it's
God.
bad that you're not supposed. You should let lightning. You know, it should just be lightning. Should be free, man. You fucking chain it up in your house so you can power your dildos.
Let it free.
That dildo's not. You can use that.
No, that one's good. That's
a very Amish
a free
dildo.
range. That's a free range dildo.
Free range dildo.
Organic.
It doesn't go very far for a free range dildo.
It's its natural environment, stuck to a glass tabletop.
So yeah, they did not clean up their act, and they still did some horrible shit. They're still totally shitty. In 1997, over a ton of cocaine was seized from 7 different Chiquita ships.
Oh shit, multiple ships.
Yes. It turns out as early as the 1930s, United Fruit Company was using its enormous fleet to ship cocaine from Honduras to Europe and the US.
God damn.
And then once the 80s and the 90s got real fucking cokey with Escobar in Colombia became the biggest cocaine exporter in the world. Hey, guess who's already got a bunch of rural railways and port access and a big ass fleet of ships?
Dude, we have so many resources in rural, hard to access places in the jungle. You aren't going to believe it. What do you need? Facilities to make cocaine in?
Yeah.
We've got so many strange facilities laying around.
And we already have a bunch of ships that go to all the places where people want cocaine.
You're going to love this. Connected by railways, no fucking roads. So the people can't even leave.
Because we paid your government off to not build them so we could control a monopoly on transportation.
those people that work there are also going to be really, really happy working there.
Come on, we'll pay them in cocaine. It'll be great. Cocaine and bananas.
Yeah.
Jesus
patterns,
Christ. So Chiquita was not charged for any of that, for the ton plus.
No, there's 7 boats full of fucking cocaine.
On over 7 boats. Yeah, they chalked it up to it was a lapse in security, which is fucking bananas.
What's funny is it's actually the only thing that happened in that whole story was not a lapse in security. Finding that there was
how it got loaded onto the ship to begin with. They were, but that again, that's the most gaslighty shit ever, right? Well, if security was doing their job, we wouldn't have been able to get the cocaine on the boat. We know who to blame for this. What were they doing? How did we get this cocaine here?
A lapse in security is the way that they were able to load cocaine into the country and Europe for fucking 70 years before they got caught.
It was also revealed at the same time in 1997.
I just want to say, I love that it was just like, no, they're free to go. Because that means they're obviously still doing that shit.
100%.
There's
100%.
a load of blow coming in with every banana boat. You think they just took over after Escobar and it's like it's bananas now?
Knowing what we know right now, on a scale of 1 to 10 on how surprised I would be to find that information out, is like a -20.
You think it's like in Super Troopers, when they find the drugs
That the police-
and it's got the Johnny Chimpo sticker on it?
Yeah.
Except it's just now you find him and it's fucking got the Chiquita banana.
Get a sticker?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God, I hate it. I hate everything. So in the same time that this all came out in 97, it was also revealed that they were funding the United Self-Defenders of Colombia, a paramilitary group and designated terrorist organization. The UAC, that's their Spanish acronym, right? Autodefensas Unidas de Colombia, was using their ships to transport product, and Chiquita employees knew about it.
Yep.
So they were funding this fucking paramilitary group. The paramilitary group was bringing their cocaine, loading it onto Chiquita ships, and I don't know what or how much money was being exchanged in the process.
Splitting some money, maybe guarding some outposts here and there. Like, oh, you got a paramilitary group out here, huh? Just so happens we got some banana plantations need guarding and enforcing labor.
Oh yeah, that's coming down the pike. Don't worry. So yeah, and employees knew about the drugs. They knew it was all.
Yeah.
So fucking security laps my ass. Anyway, even if the security isn't there, you still can't put the cocaine on the ships and expect not to get in trouble.
Oh, man, somebody put cocaine on our boats. Jeez.
TSA was off today. I totally thought I could bring this bomb on the plane. They weren't there.
Well, we can't have
they
any.
weren't there to tell me I couldn't bring the bomb.
What, are we going to have cameras in the jungle?
Yeah.
We gotta put cameras in the banana trees? I can't account for 1 ton of cocaine showing up on 7 of my boats.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
They must have done it real quick at night.
So, yeah, what do you think would happen to one of us if we were transporting literally over a ton of cocaine internationally?
Oh, I mean, we'd be imprisoned for life or executed, depending on which country you
Never
pull
see
into.
the fucking light of day?
I mean, there are a lot of countries
Never,
where you
yeah.
just fucking shot by the dumpster.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. So
I think Colombia might be one of them.
yeah. Probably.
Vietnam does, right?
Yeah, Vietnam.
No, Philippines. Philippines are the big
Philippines, right?
anti-drug.
I think that guy
He's
is dead,
dead.
but they were still like if you were-
Rodrigo Duterte.
yeah, if you were a
Duarte,
drug
yeah.
dealer in the Philippines for the last
Rodrigo.
like 20 years or something,
Yeah.
they literally kill you with a machete by the
Yeah.
side of the road and leave your body there.
There are a lot of stories of him. He's one of those push him out of the helicopter guys.
yeah, he's a big shoot him by the dumpster guy. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm like, my kind of guy.
Yeah, but he's got
He's also a
helicopters.
terrible, terrible man.
Yeah, but he's got helicopters.
So-
What's you know? There's only so many times you could shoot him by the dumpster before you look over at the
like-
helicopter and
You're like,
on the
this
helipad. And you're
dumpster's
like,
full.
you know what?
Let's just fly him out.
Yeah, let's save the bullets. This seems like fun. We watch him go splat.
Very, very like Miami Vice. Fucking
Jesus Christ. So in 2003,
things got way better. Everything's fine.
oh, of course, a report came out that Chiquita's Colombian subsidiary, aka still Chiquita, just with a Colombian shell core,
Right.
right? So probably to avoid fucking U.S. labor laws and tax code, had used a ship to illegally transport 3,000 AK-47s and 2.5 million rounds of ammo to Colombia to arm illegal paramilitary groups.
You need that for the bananas.
Yeah. Protect them at all
Yeah.
costs.
Yeah.
When questioned about this, a spokesperson for Chiquita said, "Nuh-uh,
Nuh-uh, you did. Not me.
we didn't do that."
It wasn't us.
How about this? In 2007, Chiquita pled guilty in a court of law to paying over 1.7 million to UAC, that's that paramilitary fucking terrorist organization, to protect their interests in the region. As part of the plea agreement, Chiquita had to pay 25 million to the families of UAC victims.
Ooh, wow.
Chiquita also admitted that they paid UAC operatives to silence union organizers and intimidate farmers into selling only to Chiquita. Also, in their plea agreement, the Colombian government allowed Chiquita to not divulge the names of U.S. citizens who brokered these deals with the UAC. They were able to keep them secret in exchange for the 25 million to these like 390 families.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a solid deal, I guess, but I feel like there's some people that need a good machete chop.
There was a
Yeah.
there was a lot of outcry from a lot of Colombian authorities, obviously human rights groups that wanted those names.
Uh-huh.
So, but the government said, you know what, we're not going to fight it. Like,
I think I watch a lot of movies. I like movies,
Yeah.
but like the real world instance of being an employee for a big company like this, going specifically out into like a remote part of South America
of a different country,
and talking to a paramilitary leader who's got you surrounded with AK-47s or some shit like
Yeah.
that, and being like, listen, I work for Big Bananas. You're gonna want this deal.
oh my god, you think you just wear like a whole Chiquita outfit, like just a
Yeah,
suit
was he
that's
wearing
just Chiquita
Banana
print?
costume.
Was he wearing like a?
banana
I
costume,
picture a guy wearing
And
a
you're
big
waving a
banana
white,
costume.
waving a
It's like,
white,
hey.
waving a white handkerchief as you approach the
Yeah.
fucking the terrorist organization.
Yeah, just
You're
like, maybe white suit, Panama hat. You got like an
That's-
ivory
yeah.
cane.
yeah. So
you know,
you
and you're
look
like,
like
yes.
John Hammond from
John Hammond,
Jurassic
Park. Exactly. Yeah. Yes, exactly. No, you look like the guy from the beginning of Jurassic Park. Not the first scene, but the second scene. The first scene is the shoot her with the thing.
Oh yeah.
The second scene, there's a
I
guy.
didn't say the first scene. I just said.
I'm
John
saying.
Hammond. Oh,
I'm
you
saying.
said it.
So in the second scene, there's just a guy, some guy
Mm-hmm.
who's wearing a white suit on like a raft. He's being pulled across a river.
And
I
on the
remember
other
this.
side is a bunch of guys with AK-47s.
Yeah, and they do. They have AK-47s and shit.
And on the raft, you've got a crate with 2.5 million rounds
no,
of ammo.
he gets off. He gets off the raft. Just a guy in a white suit. You never see him again. You only see this for just a minute.
Mhm.
And there's like a little kid running. It's like the Mr. White Suit. And then he walks over and somebody's like, "I've got what you're looking for," and gives him the mosquito and the amber. But that guy in the white suit only shows up in that scene and is never again in the movie.
Is that true?
Yeah.
That's how-
And then it cuts to Alan Grant digging with the
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, producer Drew here again. I don't want to make a habit of punching in like this. I usually, when the guys fuck something up, I just let it ride. But I was particularly offended by Riley's retelling of Jurassic Park and how much he got wrong there. I just want to point out that some of us have actually seen the film and know that the character in question is the lawyer, Gennaro, that he has a prominent role in the film until he is eaten by the T-Rex. Also, fun side note, if you read the book, Gennaro is the complete opposite. Totally ripped, kind of a badass, and he like fights raptors and shit. All right, thanks.
And then right after, no, I'm just joking.
So these human rights groups, since they wanted those names, they wanted them to be extradited. They wanted to know who it was that brokered these deals and have them extradited to Colombia to stand trial for fucking war crimes and aiding a terrorist organization. There was additional litigation, I think civil suits following that trial. As a matter of fact, last year, 2024, Chiquita took another $38.3 million hit to pay out 8 families of people murdered by UAC on Chiquita's dime.
How much?
38.8 or 38.3
That's a fuck.
for 8 families. I say they deserve that and
Oh,
more.
100%. I'm just
They
like,
deserve to own Chiquita.
yeah, I feel like Chiquita should be shut down, and then no one should ever. Anybody that's not around bananas shouldn't eat them. That's how
I like
feel.
bananas. That's the worst part is I like bananas.
I can do without.
I don't know if I can ever eat a banana again
I can
with
do
a clear
without
conscience.
bananas.
I'm
You know-
so concerned now that we move a lot of banana blondies at the coffee shop.
Ooh.
Oh no, we just affected your business?
So badly.
I'll never financially recover from this.
Is this? Are there other brands out there? I don't know.
Oh, there are other
The Aldi ones, right?
They
Is that
are.
Yeah, we'll find some free range bananas.
Yeah.
free range bananas like that?
Yeah.
Free range dildo?
Yeah. Did you know? Fun fact information: bananas don't taste like they used to.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
yeah.
I know.
Yeah. The
When I was a kid, bananas had the seeds in. You could see the seeds.
Yeah,
in.
do you
They don't
ever-
have them anymore.
do you ever-
Cavendish don't have seeds.
do you ever eat like banana candy? Yeah, like
Yeah, it's
just
gross.
like the flavor of a banana
yeah.
candy.
Yeah, it's gross.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fake.
Artificial
It tastes
banana.
artificial. Yeah, but it
artificial
tastes
bananas.
it tastes weird. Doesn't taste like a fucking banana.
No.
Because bananas used to taste like
that,
that.
yeah.
That's the flavor that's still persistent in the because they
It tasted more like
'cause
that.
they-
Artificial bananas still
Th-
taste wrong.
when they came up with the banana candy flavor, it's a chemical constant, right?
Yeah.
So they have a formula they make it with. But those bananas don't even exist anymore that they
Right.
base the flavor
No.
off of.
I tried one banana once that tasted kind of like
Yeah.
that. I was
the
like,
Cavendish was developed in the 90s, I think.
By
and that
Lord
was-
Cavendish
I put bananas in all of my holes. Name one after me.
from the Duke of Bananaham.
So, it literally doesn't end. There was some other fuckery in Honduras in the mid 90s when workers decided to strike because of, shit pay and shittier working conditions. So Chiquita just closed their facilities in that area, just right there, right? And they had the people living in their probably shitty fucking flop housing on the plantation. They had them forcibly evicted. They had them like forcibly removed by police, and then they fucking bulldozed all the homes just to be petty shitbirds.
Ugh. It should be pointed out, Chiquita doesn't just doesn't just grow bananas. They've got a whole fucking range of fruit. Chiquita's a massive fucking
Yeah,
company.
they do. They have a
Chiquitas, the bananas obviously are a staple in the company, but they have fucking oranges, lemons, limes, fucking whatever.
yeah. There's another story from literally 2 years ago, 2023, again in Honduras, where workers were striking because Chiquita moved its private health clinic over an hour away.
Just to fuck with them?
Evidently,
Sure did.
Yeah, it sure did.
Yeah. there was also a woman in that story who said that her pay for 12 hours of work was $14, which like even with a favorable exchange rate, like Honduras, what do they use pesos there?
Wow,
Honduras.
I don't know that one. I haven't
Yeah, I
been
don't
to
know
that
that.
one.
I haven't been to Honduras either. Even with a fucking favorable exchange rate, $14 for 12 hours of work,
Yeah, fuck that.
that's crazy.
How
I
much?
mean, $14.
Oh.
I travel a lot. You travel a lot
Yeah.
internationally. $14 for 12 hours of work is goddamn criminal.
12? Oh my God.
12 hours of work. Here's $14, lady. So, I mean, it's crazy, but so is fucking everything this company does. Why should any of us expect different at this point? So, I'm done at this point. I was going to ruin strawberries, but I don't have it in me at this point.
I got strawberry ice
season.
cream at home. Leave me alone.
Yeah, only
It's
one.
season right now, yeah.
Only one thing at a time, but there's some real fucked up shit I found on a University of Ohio study done about not only in Argentina but also in California about just some real ethically questionable fucking behavior in terms of in California in terms of using immigrant labor and specifically illegal immigrant labor to be able to
Profit more.
well, to be able to put people in a situation where they're here illegally. Now I know you're here illegally. Now you're going to work for this much, or I can tell, immigration that you're here illegally. So it's really fucked up. And by the way,
That's been happening a lot lately.
as the
Like
child
slaving.
as the child of an
Yeah.
immigrant, yeah, it is. It's modern day. So as the child of an immigrant, if you feel a certain type of way about immigration, i.e., illegal immigration, specifically, like you want to fix it, fine all the fucking employers. Don't go after the fucking people who are here
Yeah.
illegally. Go to everybody who fucking employs them and give them fines. Watch it work itself out real quick.
Mhm.
But no, I'm gonna fucking terrorize poor people.
Yeah.
That's easier. How are you guys feeling? How are you guys feeling about all this?
You know what? I'm not going to act like any of this is a surprise to me. And I'm still going to fucking eat the bananas because the
you
world is a
really?
goddamn nightmare. Yeah. You know what? My impact on banana sales is so minimal. So minimal. I couldn't even tell you.
Oh yeah, because you don't really like bananas. That
I
much.
don't like bananas that much. And my wife, fun fact, allergic to fresh fruit.
Weird.
Yeah.
What?
What?
Well,
All
she-
fresh fruit? That doesn't
only
make sense.
she's only mildly. She gets like I'm mildly allergic to shellfish, right? So if I eat shrimp, my mouth will just get real itchy. She's got the same sort of thing.
My mouth is itchy.
I'll have to squish my mouth out and stuff. But like lobster, crab, shrimp, I just get this like I can still eat it, but it won't like shut my throat or anything. Magdalena has the same thing with like fresh fruit and vegetables if they're not cooked.
Oh.
Yeah, she gets like her lips will like plump up and she'll get like itchy mouth.
That's super weird.
Yeah. Yeah, so we don't eat a lot of fucking bananas. in the
Just
house.
all of that. That sounds.
What?
That sounds like something that a kid that doesn't like fruits and
I'm
vegetables would
allergic
say.
to
I'm allergic to
vegetables."
all of them.
No.
She wants banana foster, maybe.
Yeah, she. I mean, fucking. She'll still eat it.
Yeah.
You know, just gotta like rinse your mouth out later,
Oh, sorry. I mean,
No.
like
or take a
banana.
Benadryl. No.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
You can still eat it.
Yeah,
Just
but I
gonna
mean,
have to take a
in
Benadryl
general,
later.
in general, like so, there's the
You're gonna have to rinse your mouth out.
my take has always been that there's no ethical consumerism under capitalism at all.
There
You know,
isn't. I say it all the time.
It's just true. There's always going to be that residual effect, you know. And I don't know. I don't know if the ethical thing is diluted over time and distance. You know, by the time a fucking hand of bananas gets to my house, like how many hands does it pass through, and who's more culpable for the fucking the tragedies?
You should be
in
more
South
concerned
America.
about how much cocaine it's been sitting on top of.
So by the time the cocaine gets to me,
Whose
I'm not
ass has
really
this been in?
concerned with the ethical quandaries there. You know?
Strangely enough, it looks like in 2020, a Brazilian company bought Chiquita.
What? Pieces
For
of shit.
1.
Just kidding.
For $1.3 billion.
Dang.
What?
That
That's a
sounds
lot of dollars. Yeah.
that sounds like not enough.
Yeah.
That sounds like a shell corporation to me.
Yo,
It does sound kind of
that's bad.
strangely.
It makes me want
Yeah.
some banana pancakes now.
Chiquita
I
sold-
kind of want some banana pancakes.
Sounds good.
You've circled all the way back. It got really horrible, and you're like, you know what? I could go for some bananas right now. What are you talking about
We've
it.
been talking about bananas for 4 hours.
I mean,
Also, Marcel, how are you feeling? That's a double episode. Is tough.
Oh, I'm holding on here.
Yeah.
you taking it? You doing all right?
His first sit on the podcast, and he just sits for a fucking 4-hour episode.
So just because I just looked it up, Chiquita Brands International owns 3 companies, including Fresh Express, which is like the lettuce, you know, like the bagged. You ever see like Fresh Express, like spinach and lettuce and stuff like that? Chiquita owns that. Fresh International Corp and Bruce Church LLC. What the fuck is Bruce Church LLC?
Is that like the Church of Bruce? Is there a guy named Bruce who's got a weird, wacky religion? Because we could use that.
Hello, I'm Bruce. What are you into? You want to worship some giraffes? They look like goats with long necks. We do it here at Bruce Church LLC.
That's a comedian. Yeah.
I went on a safari one time, and you couldn't believe my mind was blown when I saw a goat with a long neck. And I said, "What in golly gee was that thing?" And an African guy said, "It's a giraffe." And I said, "Whoa, wowie, that's got to be like a god of some sort." So I made Bruce Church LLC. Come down.
That was like a real good, like R.L. Stein meets Christopher Walken. I like that.
Balanced environments.
What is Bruce Church LLC?
I don't know.
They've only got 50 employees and 27 million in revenue.
What? How do I get into Bruce Church LLC? That's my question.
Fucking
Gotta buy
find
it.
some Find a country to exploit. Bruce is one of the best in relationship building. His excellence comes naturally. Oh, this is some guy's a guy named Bruce Church, his LinkedIn fucking page I found.
Bruce Church Incorporated is a shipping company.
Oh, well, that makes
It's
sense.
truck
Yeah.
transportation.
Oh, okay. Bruce Church LLC, baby. Jesus. There's several, so don't confuse them with the several Bruce Churches that I'm looking at on LinkedIn right now because they're different.
Send them a message. See if they want a job. Make them a huge offer working in bananas. If they accept, yoink it out from under them.
Yoink it. Yoink it hard. All right. Well, that seems like enough fun, huh?
Yeah, I'm depressed now. I'll go have a smoothie.
If you enjoyed this episode, you know how to do it. Get on whatever you're listening to. Give us 5 stars. If you're on Spotify, leave us a comment on the episode. If you want to send us a message, deleteeverythingpodcast@gmail.com. If this is not enough for you, patreon.com/deleteeverythingpodcast. That's all the ways to do it. Oh, also Instagram.
Instagram.
If you want to see the episode pics.
Yeah, if you want to
this or any-
see what's on the episode later in the day after the episode's been out for many hours, tune into the Instagram. I still haven't posted today's Instagram. It takes like 20 minutes. I'll do it. Just like,
Great.
They're always fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, Riley Bowen. Yeah, so those are all the ways. And look out for a GoFundMe at some point so that we can go fuck around in Chile on your dime. Thank you.
Yeah.
That would be beautiful.
We'll see you next week.
Don't forget to go to Llama Restaurant or Maracuya.
Yeah, Llama Restaurant
Yeah.
or Maracuya Coffee Shop here in St. Augustine if you're here. If you're not here, it's a great vacation spot.
Don't fucking do that. No, dude, just come here. Drive through and go to those 2 places I told you. Then get the fuck out of here. All right, bye.
I just drove here
Thank
for
you.
Kentucky. All right, bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye.